Hi everyone, we're James and Barb Bradley. Moved to Panama in 2012 from Canada, west coast of Canada, British Columbia. Had a design and manufacturing company there, and after lots of research and lots of looking at other countries, Panama became the country we were looking for. It had all the things that we were looking for to bring up a young family and to essentially relocate our business and work for ourselves in a tropical country.
Yeah, well, we went to visit Costa Rica. We tried Mexico, Dominican, and none of the places fit. And we came on our first month-long holiday to Panama and just fell in love. We fell in love with the country, the people, just how family-oriented it was. It was beautiful, and there were so many different places that we liked, and even after the month was over, we were like, we could stay here. So it was after that trip that we really kind of decided, right?
Yes. And then spent 10 years trying to figure out how to make it work. So we did spend 10 years figuring out, how to get to Panama. And the year before we decided for sure we're going to move, we came down for a 2-week holiday with the kids. Started in Panama City, looked all around Panama City, and then my parents lived up in Boquete, so we decided we were going to drive the coast and see what was available all the way up, and eventually ending up in the beach.
With James's parents living in Boquete, it was kind of a draw for us to start here. We thought, maybe we'll start here and look around. But as we spent more time in the Boquete DeVite area, we realized that DeVite was really growing. It was a great place with lots of opportunities for starting a business. And we knew we were going to have a business here right from the beginning. So we just didn't quite know what we were going to do yet. And so we came in 2012, and by 2015 is when 2014 is when
we incorporated,
yeah, we started our business.
Yeah.
So for the first 2 years, James was still working in Canada. He was traveling a lot back and forth, and I was here alone with my 2 kids, and they were grade 1 and grade 3 at the time. So that was, an adventure all on its own. But we were looking, okay, what business opportunities are here that our skill set would really work with? And, James had been really thinking about building houses here, but the more I looked at it, I'm like, every house that we've looked in has a Panamanian style kitchen, and it's not what North Americans really, really want. And I just said to him, if you build a house, what are you going to put inside of it? And so because he had a cabinet making company in Canada, we talked a lot about it and decided that there's a really big need here for good quality North American style cabinets.
Yeah, so at that point we decided to incorporate Pan Pacific Interiors. That's our company here. So that was incorporated the beginning of 2014. And we started very small with a shop located in DeVite, and built it up over the years. We were very fortunate in the end of 2019 to actually bring in a partner from South Africa. I was looking for someone, and Winston came, and it was what he was looking for, so it's just a perfect match. And we've been able really in that last 2 years to really expand the company with Bryon and his wife Claire involved, and Barb and myself are obviously very involved. We're now opening a new showroom. We're actually moving shop locations. We've expanded so much, and it's been a constant build on what we started.
Hi, we are Bryon and Claire Whitson from South Africa. We're looking at relocating for a number of years to a country, and Panama came up, and we decided to come and visit. I think it was about March 2019. Prior to that, we had actually got hold of the Bradleys. I got in touch with James. He had a business venture up on the internet, and that brought us to Panama to come and visit and meet with the Bradleys. And very quickly, I think in December of 2019, I'd moved up. Well, sorry, it was actually October, and in December, you and the kids moved up, and we joined the company. So when we first moved to Panama, we chose an area called Caldera outside Boquete. We stayed there for the first 7 months, 8 months. We then decided to try out another area, Puerto Rios, which more or less is the same distance from David. Weather a little bit cooler. When I say cooler, I mean sort of averaging around the 28-30 degrees Celsius. So a lot quieter than Boquete.
Yes, which hasn't suited our children very well. They want to be closer to the hustle and bustle, if you can call it that, of Boquete, which is the only hustle and bustle really in the area.
And I think what's also great about Boquete is the multicultural inhabitant of Boquete. You know, you've got a huge amount of North American, Canadian, South African. I'm sure there's also a small percentage of Europeans there as well. But ultimately also we're immersed into the Panamanian culture.
So our company's Pan Pacific Interiors. What we are is a luxury cabinet and stone countertop fabrication and design company. Setting up a company in Panama was definitely different than Canada. I had several companies up in Canada. So we had to learn a lot of things over again. Marketing, you know, when you're setting up a company in your home country, you tend to have connections and stuff like that. Of course, we had no connections down here. So we really had to work on our marketing, getting the word out there on what we did. And again, culturally, it's just a different country, and how things work are very different than what we were used to. So we learned a lot over the first year, 2 years of running the company. Sourcing materials, you know, clients, you know, what clients are we going after, that type of thing. One thing that we really caught us off guard was when something's not available in Panama, it's not 2 weeks away. You know, it's 90 days, 120 days away. So we spent a lot of time figuring out where to source our materials, how to get them here. We buy a lot of our stuff direct from manufacturers, and we found that keeps us with material in hand, and that's helped up a lot. As I said, when Bryon came and Claire came, it took a lot off of Barb and I, because you're training everybody here. You have to understand that the skill sets in Panama from a local perspective aren't quite the same as I can speak for Canada anyways, Canada, the US, where, you know, there's a lot of trained people. We trained everybody. We're a very automated type company. We use a lot of technology. And so we trained everyone, and we've gone through the whole training processes and stuff like that, which has been great because we now have staff that really, they shine very bright compared to the competition. I mean, that's what I've noticed since we've been here. The training's been a big deal, and just figuring out all the little logistics and stuff like that. But as Bryon said, it's a country of opportunity. It definitely is.
I think, yeah, just to carry on from what James has said, I think one of your biggest investments in any company, for that matter, is your investments in your people and your training. And I think that's what really stood out for me when I first came across James' advertisement looking for an investor. I did do some research for another cabinet making company in Panama City. But if I have to make the comparisons, the company that James and Barbara have brought up to the point of before Claire and myself made the decision was streets ahead. of the company that I was looking in at Panama City. And really, it's in terms of just echoing in what James has said now, is the focus on processes and procedures and automation and training is really where it firmed up the decision for my wife and myself to actually make this leap of faith, not only immigrating to a new country, but investing in a business and investing in a partnership that has really stood out for me.
Having kids in a country that speaks Spanish only was very challenging at first. My kids came when they were grade 1 and grade 3. And so my daughter, who's very social, Emma, she picked up the language like nothing. She could communicate with kids, she was playing with kids, it had no effect on her whatsoever. My son in grade 3 though, he was quite resistant to learning Spanish, and he's kind of introverted, a little shy. So it took him a lot longer to kind of integrate. The first school we went to was a private school here in David. It was very small, and they gave them lots of extra help with their Spanish courses. We got a tutor, which I sat in on because I needed to learn Spanish too. Living in David, there was no English. So we had to learn Spanish really quickly. And so after 2 years at that school, we moved them to Academia, which is partway up the hill towards Buketi, which we were in the process of moving to Buketi at that time. So that worked out well. Academia had a lot to offer, but my kids were really struggling in math. They were teaching math in Spanish. So I was finding that they just weren't getting what they needed. So we switched them to Oxford. Oxford has more bilingual teachers. It does cost a little more, but it's worth it when the kids are they understand more every day. So the teachers that do the Spanish classes actually speak some English too, so they're able to get help when they need it. So I'm really happy with the Oxford school. In Canada, we had the kids in public school. We didn't have to do private, and private school there, I wouldn't even dream of putting them in. I mean, the costs were quite substantial. So here though, it's kind of the norm when you're coming in to put the kids in an international private school, and pretty expected. I don't know that I would have gone right into public school with the kids. They would have no English at all there. So yeah, the expenses here, if you want to talk about expenses, I mean, in Canada, I went back to visit Canada, and I went grocery shopping for my mom, and I went to a place where I was buying like a big package of meat, and it was like over $20 Canadian. Right here, I could buy it for $8 at Price Mart. Okay, I'm just like, look at that, and I'm like, holy cow! It has gotten so expensive in Canada for really common things: food, insurance, rent or housing. Everything has just gone through the roof there. So I think we really made, a good choice when we were coming as far as being really cost effective. Our budget in Canada was probably $10,000 a month. Here it's $3,000 a month. So, just to kind of give you an idea of the difference of costs. I mean, you're talking Canadian and American money, but still.
For us, it was quite different. In South Africa, when we're converting into US dollars, everything here seems pretty much, everything is more expensive. However, we've got to the point where we're not converting anymore, and we're starting to see that life is fine. We can live on a good budget, and we have a great life. So with schools, just going back to schools, one thing I would definitely recommend is if you're considering immigrating and your children are small and they're young, do it while they're small. Bringing teenagers over was a whole different ballgame because if they're young, you can kind of say, we're going on an adventure, look at all the exciting things, and you don't have to have whole negotiation processes with everything that you do. And there's a lot of guilt involved with taking them away from their friends and their family and their, at 60, our children are 16 and 14. And also we were concerned about getting them into school and not wasting any time with trying to get them integrated and missing time because of Spanish and what have you. But the Oxford School has been great. Even now during the pandemic, the online school, with its frustrations of parents having to be there for support of laptops that are not linking and what have you, all in all, it's been a great experience.
Yeah, I'd just like to touch on some aspects of the business that my wife and myself got involved with Bradley's, and not too much on the Panama side, but more so in the business, in that there's a unique offering in this business in terms of the attention to quality, and that's testament in our 5-year warranty that is offered to clients that make purchases through this business. The business is highly process driven, and there's a huge offering in terms of customer satisfaction through the entire process of when the customer decides to actually go with us for a kitchen. We are certainly, in what I've seen in the last 9 months, the best North American style, European style kitchen cabinet manufacturer in the country.
The unique difference in Pan Pacific Interiors is our staff understands we go into every job to leave it better than we started. We're a professional design firm. That's my background, professional design in Canada. So we're offering that aspect, as well as what Byron talks about, all of the service, between Claire and Barb and the sales process right through to the manufacturing. And Byron's hands-on as far as managing the job sites and making sure that when we walk away from that, it doesn't look the same as when we got there. It looks better, not just what we put in, but how the guys leave it. And we're really focused on that. And I think if you're going to do a business here, you need to be prepared to offer something that's above what they can just get. Because if you're going to compete on pricing, you're going to have a challenge. The standards are, from a North American perspective, much lower than we're necessarily used to. And so that was one of the reasons we decided to start the company. How do we raise that bar higher and higher and higher? And we worked very hard with our staff to keep that level, not the same, but constantly going up and up and up. And that's one of the things I think you want to consider. You're going to spend some money starting a company here, but your opportunities are phenomenal if you're willing to put the time and effort in.
Yes, and I think just to add on to what James said, is that you've got to do your research. But there's definitely opportunity. It's a welcoming country, but there's opportunity for business. There's always opportunity, but you've got to be prepared to be that much better.
And I think it's really important that when you're starting a business in another country, you don't know who you don't know. And that's something that we found out.
Yeah.
We had no clue. Some of the things that came up, we were just like, I had no idea. And so come and talk to someone that has started a business here, come see us, not just to look at our kitchens, but to talk to us about the business ideas and what we went through at the beginning. Because there's some things that, man, if we could do it again, we would do some things different.
Well, one thing I'll say on that, I wish we had known Jackie. We didn't when we came. We've met her since, and she's been a great resource. And the expats that we've come across here and the Panamanians have been phenomenal in helping us. One of our initial staff members, Mabel, that still works in our office now, has been a godsend for us. And I think you guys have experienced that too since you've been here. She knows everything about who to talk to, and that is available here if you're willing to ask. And if you're willing to ask, you'll get the answers you're looking for.